All right, everybody. I'm Kevin. Most of you know me. I'm a pin turner. I have no idea why they wanted me to turn a bowl. But what I got here, a lot of guys, I know you have all probably turned something from green wood and then let it set and then turn it again 2 or 3 times once it's dry to get your final shape. This is a piece of dry wood. It's been sitting beside of my shop for about 3 years. Can you get an angle on this cleat? It's cracking. You guys sitting right there, I don't know if I'd sit right there. You might catch it. And just sitting in my truck last night, I put it in there, and from last night to now, it's cracked on the end. So this is kind of a demonstration on what if. You never know what you're going to get in a piece of wood. You can get something that's going to be a grenade, or it can be a really nice piece of wood. Fortunately, I turned the other half of this, and it turned out really nice. There will be a lot of splintering off of this as I turn it. So I'm not kidding. You guys might not want to sit there. So here goes nothing. There, now you can see. I have no idea. It's from the scrap pile. It was going to be burnt, so, and it's dry. I tested it, and it was like 5% moisture level, so it's really dry. All right. For those of you who haven't bought one of these yet, I highly suggest getting a Carter & Sons. This is the best gouge I've ever had. And with this aluminum handle, you might think you might get vibration through it. You don't get nothing. This is a really nice gouge. If you guys didn't hear me ask, did I balance this? No. It's really offset, but I'm trying to get a basic shape from about right here. So it's going to be hit and miss until I get it to a rough shape. There we go. What? Do I need it? All right, this is going to be just hit and miss until I get her down to round. It's low. Nah, there's no fun in that. Oh. Good thing I'm taking the beating up here. All right. Other than the ingrain tear out, it's not bad for cracks, and it's got some decent figure to it and decent color. So I'm going to try and work on the end down here so I can get it where it'll go in the chuck. I don't know. What's that? No idea. It's dry. Not bad. I turned the lathe off there. All right. When we started, I had a piece that was about 10 by 10. Now we're down to what, maybe 7? So you lose a lot of wood when you're turning bowls. But to get down to what's going to be the piece that you're going to use or finish, you're going to lose a lot of wood sometimes. But this here is wormy, and you can see the worm marks in it. And it's also got a, the end grain's really textured, or what do you call it? Yeah, a lot of tear out in it. There you go, texture. What do you fill that with, Jerry? What do you call it? No, what's the stuff you were going to bring me and show me how to use?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
All right, this is my cheater. So it fits the chuck. There. All right, at this point, if I was at home, I'd take my grinder and I'd finish the bottom or the outside and get it down to probably about 200 grit sandpaper. And I've got a grinder that I've put a sanding disc on, and it spins about 10,000 RPM, and I go over that first and rough it down, get the basic shape, and then I sand it till I get to all of this roughness has gone out of the bowl. All right, when you guys are using a chuck, do you use the center screw? How many of those come off the lathe? Never? You run your tailstock up, hold it in place? Okay. In the last year, I've probably had 5 or 6 bowls come off seriously and get hit by them. So I gave up on that. I've gone back to using the faceplate with screws. I haven't lost a single one since I've gone back to that method. You're going to hollow the bowl out anyway, so what difference does it make? Oh. That's all right. Come on. I'm losing them. All right. Alrighty. Dude. I feel like I'm losing something here. I'm sorry? On the chuck, you have that screw drive that goes in the center. And and you drill a hole and mount the bowl on there. If you have a hard catch on the bowl, a lot of times you can knock that loose, and then the bowl will come off and you possibly get hit. Well, I'm so lucky I get hit a lot. All right, now we have the bowl reversed around and in the chuck. And at this point, don't do that. All right, now we're going to start on the inside of the bowl and excuse me, see what I can get out of this thing. That was for you, Cleet. All right. At this point, you're starting to feel like you got to push a little harder and a little harder. 9 times out of 10, your gouge has already gotten dull. When you feel like you're working, you should have switched probably 2 or 3 before that. So now I'm really leaning into this. My list of how to do this. All right, I'm going to switch to my crown. It's 5/8 inch bowl gouge. Put it on there with super glue so it wouldn't come off. There. Now, this is a gouge that I have sharpened at a 7-degree angle, and it's just so I can make that sharp turn down in the bottom. But when you have one of these, you have to be careful because a lot of times they'll catch on the ear, so you need to really pay attention when you go in and make that turn at the bottom. Dork. No, I'm right on center when I'm using this. Right there's on center. All right, I got a little tear out right there on the rim. I'm going to cut that off. That was fast and simple, but like I said, I turn pins. I don't turn bowls. Questions? Yep. Yeah. I didn't bring my jam chuck, so I can't do a bottom. That's the easy part. Yeah. Yes, sir. Right now, it's probably about a half inch. If it wasn't so dry, I would take it down probably to a quarter. But when you feel it, it's light already. I mean, it's probably ounces in weight. And this is another part of the same tree. I'll send this around. It was that was the trunk of the tree, and this was one of the branches that came off of it, and that was the trunk above the branch. So it wasn't a very big tree. It just fell over, and I saw it sitting there for probably 3 years, and finally I just stopped and asked the guy. I said, "What are you going to do with that tree?" He said, "You want it?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "If you take anything, take it all." And I said, "No problem." So I cut it up and burned up most of the limbs and stuff in the fire pit at the house. And I wished I'd have turned it sooner when it wasn't quite as dry as it is now, because it's got some beautiful figure in it.
Kevin, would you explain how I know you don't have your gems checked here.
Okay.
Could you explain how you do that?
I take, and I've got a piece of ash that's about 3.5 inches across, and it's probably 6 inches long, and it's got a tenon on it, and I mount it in the chuck, and it's got a slight dome on it. I take a piece of leather, lay it over that, or lay it in the bowl, and bring it up to the jam chuck, and then bring the tailstock up on center. And once I find the center of it, I turn it, and then I just take a smaller gouge. I've got a 1/2 inch bowl gouge at home, and I turn the tenon all the way down and across till I end up with just a peg on there. And I take and chisel that off once I take it off of the lathe. So it's real simple to get that foot off the bottom of the bowl.
What do you use for finishing?
Whatever Tim and Kelly decide to finish it with next week or next month. Have you guys decided on what you're going to use next month?
Not exactly. But you'll always take your key out of the truck when you're done, right?
Oh. I haven't done that yet, so I know what you're saying. Lately, my choice of finish has been wipe on poly or spray lacquer. The spray lacquer is so quick and easy. It dries in about 15 minutes if your shop is warm. I want to try some different things. They say you can thin that wipe on poly with mineral spirits, and the first coat will soak deeper into the grain of the wood, and let that dry completely, and then sand the surface off, and then put just 100% wipe on poly on top of that. And another gentleman I know from Appleton, I'm trying to get him to join the club. He's an amazing wood finisher, but he says he doesn't have time for a club. So, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I wouldn't think you need to cut your wipe on poly down any more than it is.
Well, he says it absorbs it in a lot faster, and it's an oil-based poly, and you thin it 50-50 or 75-25. He says even better with the mineral spirits, and he said you get a soaking in, and it hardens the wood. So.
But the thing is, a wipe on poly is already cut 50% at least
Right.
from a regular poly.
Okay.
So the amount of poly you're putting in is minimal at best if you're cutting it again 50%.
Okay.
So I wouldn't cut it because
Mineral spirits to clean up the wood.
yeah,
First and put on your wipe on would almost do the same thing. It penetrates
with the mineral spirits and it would clean it up.
Okay. The problem I get all the time, and last year Tim he finished a bowl that I had done, and he said it could be a lot better, and I thought, wow, it looked pretty good to me. And he does an amazing finish. Next month you guys will learn a lot from watching him do a bowl, but I get this raised grain feel to everything I do, and I spend hours and hours on the finish. And that's why I went to pins. Pins are it's an immediate gratification, you know, and I don't even have to sand anymore. I've gotten pretty proficient with a skew chisel. I do a skew on there, and then I go right to my super glue finish. And the only sanding I do is I've got the micro mesh, and I cut the CA back on it to get that shine. That's the only thing I'm doing is polishing the finish. So, I mean, that's why bowl turning is so annoying to me, is it takes forever and a lot of work to get a good finish on a bowl. I mean, you sell pieces. If I could sell a piece, make a decent amount on it, it might be worth it to go that extra mile. But I don't know, that the end grain in a bowl,
You'll have to come next month
I will be here.
without giving up the whole.
So any more questions?
Kevin, what was that Carter and Son, gouge, how, 5/8?
5/8, and it's the round channel, they call it, not the V channel. The round flute, yeah. I have a serious tool with the V, and I don't know how to sharpen it. You can't sharpen it like you do this. For some reason, it gets what they call that bird beak effect on the end. How do you sharpen that?
That's one of the toughest tools I ever ran into to sharpen.
It's no fun. But that serious tool is a sharp tool once you get it,
But Craft Supply just came out with a M42 line of tools, and that's what the Carter and Son is. But I haven't compared prices on them.
Okay.
So it's another of that high, hard, what's it called, the rating.
Oh, the Rockwell standard.
Rockwell standard, yep.
Okay.
42. That's a good tool.
Has anybody got this one at home? You no? It's a Carter and Sons, and it's got aircraft aluminum handle, aircraft grade. I want it back, but I'll pass it around.